Cars buried, homes flattened, many who've lost everything without the means to rebuild. This, the moment a rare 6.8 magnitude quake hit Morocco, just after 11 p.m. on a summer's night, bringing down roofs on sleeping families. Fear and panic.
Let's go, let's go!
Inside shopping centres and restaurants. Here, two men suddenly jump up and run. Seconds later, their seats engulfed in rubble. Survivors dazed. The air thick with dust. The quake's epicentre, the High Atlas Mountains, 71 kilometres southwest of the ancient city of Marrakesh, a popular tourist destination.
The room started shaking. We was going backwards and forwards and everything started moving, and we just grabbed our bags and we raced out.
A UNESCO World Heritage Site, parts of the old city's famous red walls have crumbled. The Kotubia Mosque, built in the 12th century, also damaged.
We're just surrounded by cracked walls and rubble and floors.
With warnings of more aftershocks, families camp out in the heat. Inside hospitals, an influx of the injured, authorities calling for blood donations. But it's the hard-to-reach mountain areas that have been worst hit. Entire communities flattened. Earthen homes not built to withstand such force. And despite an outpouring of offers of help, international search teams are still waiting for the Moroccan government to give the green light to deploy. Bereaved families burying loved ones as rescuers desperately search for survivors trapped beneath the rubble in a race against time.
Kiwi expat Nikki Burmester runs a guest house in Marrakesh. Nikki, your guest house was full of tourists when the quake struck. Describe what that moment was like.
Well, if I can say this, I've just been watching the Rugby World Cup, as you have to as a New Zealander, and I got home to the Riyadh. The Riyadh was actually full of Australians and had gone to bed, and about 10 minutes in, heard what I knew was an earthquake, which I couldn't believe. Marrakesh has never had an earthquake ever. Got up, couldn't quite believe it, certainly became the earthquake warden and helped the guests. And I'm very lucky they were Australian because they understood about earthquakes, what to do. And there was an element of being able to keep them calm, which was great. It was a bit of a shock and it was huge, I have to say. But that said, there wasn't much damage to the property, not that I knew at the time, but it was a big earthquake, no doubt about it.
With quakes being so rare in Morocco, how have people reacted?
I think that it's a mixture of there is a shock, there is a disbelief, there is a feeling of, God willing, if I could say that. But generally, they've never experienced anything like it. And talking to my staff, the natural inclination is to run. And that's what everyone did, right? The Moroccans were running to the square, running as buildings were kind of crumbling. So you get this sort of collective panic. But what was good is that people congregated in the mosque areas, which had no buildings around them. And there's an element of feeling really safe, being near a mosque in one way. And, a lot of people have been sleeping outside. Coming from New Zealand, we're used to having aftershocks and we haven't. So it's been 20-something hours. And my feeling is we might not get them, but all my staff are trained and guess of what we're going to do if there is one.
Obviously, the pictures look devastating that we're seeing from afar. I know the Moroccan authorities haven't yet greenlit international rescue teams coming in. Do you have any sense of whether the help that's needed is getting there?
Well, my sense is that, Marrakesh, where I am, is kind of getting back a little bit to normal, if I could say that. Last night, the restaurants were open again. People were taking some breathing space. The tagine man at the end of the street who has 50 tagines piled high didn't have one break. And then you see rubble off other buildings. So I think it's real. Right. But yesterday we were able to go in, my partner and I, and actually help clean up the rubble and help the people, check in on them. And actually it feels like business is kind of normal.
What about in those regional and remote communities? We're hearing that that's where the worst impacts have been.
Yes. I think I've heard from my friends that there are 9 major villages impacted in the High Atlas Mountains. Just the way the houses are built and how the land is, I know that's not going to be, a great a great outcome, unfortunately. But we have to be there. We have to support these people. They've had a very tough time through COVID. And what's so pleasing for me is we had guests check in yesterday. No one's cancelled, but people are coming and they want to support Morocco. And that's my message, is that devastation happens everywhere, but we have to help with the livelihood of the souls and the individuals that are actually out there. So I hope that, we can look at the media, see what's happening, and then think, how can we help this nation?
Nikki, it's a great thing that you're okay. Stay safe, and thanks for your time.
Thank you very much.
It's so unbelievable that your entire home, your life, your business can disappear, zero warning, in 1 second.
Yep.
And it's gone. And then you have to rebuild on the other side. Unbelievable.
Obviously, Morocco is a place that a lot of Aussies travel to. At the moment, DFAT is saying that they're not aware of any Australian casualties or even hospitalisations from the quake. But if you are concerned or you're looking for relatives, you can get more information by contacting the 24-hour Consular Emergency Centre number. That's on your screen right now, 1300 555 135.